Hi everyone. This video will discuss your 3-5 activity, the graphic organizer on marriages. To start your assignment, you will need to have watched these 3 videos from your resources for the week, and then you will download the Marriage Graphic Organizer Word document. Let's take a look at the overall directions for your graphic organizer. We'll be discussing polyandry, arranged marriages, and walking marriages for this assignment. You'll also get the opportunity to examine and discuss your own biases. Please remember to complete all 3 sections of this worksheet. Make sure you take a look at the assignment guidelines and rubric to see how the assignment will be scored. Now, let's go through this worksheet section by section. In section A of your graphic organizer, you are asked to discuss 3 of your biases related to marriage. In the first row, you're going to identify your bias. In the second row, you are going to discuss what influenced that bias. For example, is it something from your religion, your family, personal experiences, etc.? Now, in that first row, you are not simply naming the 3 types of marriage for this. You are identifying a specific bias. So this top row should not just have polyandry, arranged marriages, walking marriages listed. What biases do you have for these types of marriage? You will need to be introspective and be open to examining your own biases related to marriage. Now, if you don't have any biases related to these kinds of marriage, I do not want you to create a bias in yourself. You can just use a general bias you have about marriage and discuss that. Again, I don't want you to create a bias where you currently don't have one. You may not have heard of all these kinds of marriages before. I don't want you to develop a bias where one does not exist simply to satisfy an assignment. So if this is the case, you can identify a bias that you have regarding marriage in general. In the announcements, you see this example for section A. Notice that it does not just simply state polyandry, arranged marriages, walking marriages in the first row. It identifies an actual bias related to one of these marriages. I also included a general bias related to marriage that could be discussed if you're just learning about these types of marriages. If you just type polyandry, arranged marriages, walking marriages in that first row, you will not be able to earn full credit as you're not identifying what your bias related to that kind of marriage is. Remember to identify that bias. In section B, you will be asked to be completely objective, to put all your biases aside, and discuss polyandry, arranged marriages, and walking marriages. The goal of this is to get some practice in being completely objective. Set aside whatever thoughts or feelings you have about these kinds of marriage and only reply with the facts that you found in your videos. You should be able to find more than one advantage and more than one drawback for each of these. In the last section, section C, you will be creating a question a social scientist may ask about marriage. You only need one question. Remember that your question should be a factual question based on the facts as opposed to being rooted in bias or unfair assumptions. Your question can be about any of the types of marriage we discussed this week. Your question can come from psychology, sociology, or anthropology. Remember that your question should also be objective and not show bias. This assignment is due by 11:59 p.m. in your time zone on Sunday. If you have any questions, you can post them in the General Questions discussion board or send me an email. Have a great rest of your week, and thanks for watching.